You want to run us in?
Me?
Yeah, this is your show. You got to.
I mean, but you're the one hosting.
I thought it was your show.
This is your thing. Yeah, this is your show right now.
Alrighty.
I just got told to show up. That's all I know. I just appeared.
He did kind of just appear. I didn't realize he was going to be here at all. Nobody was
Same.
talking about Derty the entire time,
At
and
some
then he
point,
was
I
just
thought,
here.
wait, is this Dirty's podcast up we're doing, and he just got a second co-host that I just got sprung up on last second? Surprise!
I mean, if you want me to go ahead and then I can do this if you like.
It'll be completely different from whatever you guys do. So if
I feel like that's the charm of it.
all right,
Yeah, that's the beauty.
alrighty, guys, welcome to Panda View. This is Eragon Gamer. It's just some dude shouting from the ether here with Jordy,
Nani?
Justin,
Hi.
Christian,
Never heard of him.
and Derty.
Hello.
And today we're going to be doing an episode on Blue Period.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Wait, did we start giving our reviews yet? When did we start?
This is the soccer one, right?
This is where Jordy does the summary.
Oh wait, what? No.
Got
no. We never agreed
him.
about
Got him,
no.
Got him.
No.
Got him.
No.
You gotta
In
do it
there.
now.
You're on the summary.
Put him on.
I don't know how to
Justice is
read.
away from the phone right now. He can't read the summary.
Oh my god, he got by aliens.
Was that like Wish.com Yoba?
Probably.
I couldn't hold it. I'm sorry. I broke character.
Jordy.
You know what? I'm gonna do it in the most annoying way ever. All right,
Please.
Wait. How you? Yatora.
Are you gonna do an uwu?
How you pronounce this? Yato. Oh wait. I don't know how to pronounce Japanese names. Right? You gotta forgive me here.
It's Yatora Yaguchi.
Yatora Yaguchi, a second year in high school, is struggling with his place in life. He spends each day wearing a mask, catering his personality to his environment. He is just going through the motions of life, following others' ideas of what his life should be. One day, an art assignment ignites his passion in arts, and he can no longer hide it. He repurposes his ability to work hard to grow in a field he is passionate about. But this transformation isn't instant. He fights against change. He makes excuses to discard his passion for art. Come on, keep going right. Let's. He fears his parents won't support his decision to pursue art. He finally realizes that sometimes the greatest success one can find in life is happiness. However, his road to success is not easy. Hold on. Give me a break.
He's out of practice. Got to catch his breath.
What do you mean out of practice? I've never done this.
Yeah, you have.
I've done this once.
That's enough.
All right. Hit him. He has set down a path with many hardships. He discovers his passion for art much later in life than some of his peers. Yotara is constantly trying to repress this feeling that he is worse than his peers. His greatest challenges lie in the lack of knowledge and technique, but sharing his passion with others through his art. Yatra shows perseverance in the face of constant adversity. This show about art teaches more than just techniques. It is a show about feeling comfortable in your own skin. Blue Period presents the inner turmoil that comes with not being able to be yourself. It is about being truly accepted for who you are.
Wow, that's a really good closing for that summary, actually.
It's all long. He wrote so much, my guy.
Yeah.
This is the guy who
This is
only likes
tame.
manga, not even for the fact that the word bubbles are like a sentence long at most. He just likes pictures. He wants picture books.
Well, no. I demand you either give me the book with the full essays or the manga with short sentences. All right? No mix and matching here.
I prefer the picture books.
I do enjoy pictures.
Same.
I get bored of the pictures. Give me
How
the
do you
book.
get
Couldn't be
bored
me.
of...
Yeah.
Is it a hot take to say that I don't actually look at the pictures when I read manga?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I just
What?
sort of glance at
Do
them.
you even enjoy this anime we just watched? Like, you don't like picture books?
Yeah.
What did you...
What?
So what did you
What
gain
happened?
out of this?
I'm so confused.
the story.
I guess that's fair. That's a good story. You're still an animal.
Sorry for writing so much, but Blue Period is something that I'm really passionate about. It is literally my number one anime. Really? Yes. The themes that it dives into, the story that it tells, I just fell in love with it. And part of my rating system for anime is based around either the world, the concept, or the ability to drag emotions out of me and feeling connected to the characters that are in the show. So this is my favorite anime.
Interesting.
I can definitely see that. There's a lot of really good inspiring moments in this show.
Out of
Yeah.
curiosity, do you in any way, shape, or form have a type of parallel with anything that happens in the show? Like, were you Yatora in high school at some point or something like that? Or does it even have zero connection to you personally, but what this piece of art does to you through, the narrative and or just the good paintings in general, whatever it is, it just speaks to you so deep down to your soul that you just can't help but love it? I'm curious.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it does for me. I believe that everybody can relate to this, especially being a young adult like I am. Getting out of high school, nobody really prepares you for getting out and finding what you want to do in life. And seeing him be able to just find what he wants to do and just go so hard at just working so hard at it, it just resonates with me on a personal level. I find the same qualities of Yatora in myself, but I just haven't found that passion yet. And something that I like to do, but I don't know how I would make a living off of it, is I love learning, constantly just learning new stuff, hearing different stories, and there's like so much going on in my head that I feel like that I would want to do and try out, but it's just finding the time to do it and also be able to justify that time that I put into it.
I appreciate that take. I think I have a somewhat similar take in terms of what I appreciate about the show. So I'll start off the bat with saying I heard about the show. I heard it was great. It was good. It does something. Art, the anime is spectacular, right? These are all the things I basically heard. And I didn't have any doubts or reservations really, but walking into the show blind for the most part, I did not expect myself to necessarily be as invested as I currently feel. Like 3 episodes in, I'm like, wow, this is way more compelling, way more character driven, way more narrative driven than I would have anticipated. And there's a lot of things in this show so far that really tug on my own, heartstrings or whatever. I think back to, as you said, Yatsuru, he's, at least for me, a relatable character in 2 folds. One being his shift in perspective on art. So when I was in high school, I got really into poetry. And I had my certain views on poetry for a long time, up until college, where I took formal classes and, learned formal techniques and ideas and things like that. And I was kind of like him, where I was like, oh, art's whatever you want it to be. You could just do whatever. Like, if you're talented, you just got, the easy dub kind of thing. It's not necessarily something you could really hone. At least that's what I believed. I was like, art in terms of visual art is just something that you're either born with it or you're not. And, you could practice and hone a craft, but you need to be gifted a certain threshold, right? And with writing based art forms, for me, I was like, okay, this is a lower barrier to entry. But I was also very against just learning from not necessarily peers, but others, in terms of here's this successful but very old person / piece of poetry that you should and could learn from. But I was like, man, that's old people stuff. That's stuff from the 1600s. What do I care about that? How is that relevant to what I'm doing now? Et cetera, et cetera. And as I got older and a little wiser and a little less stubborn, I realized, as Yatsuro kind of learns throughout the show a little bit from what I've seen so far, there are things to learn every day in all forms, from everything and everywhere. If you're, 1, open to learning from it, and 2, if that's what you want to learn. I think one of the more, I'm going to get into it later, I guess, but he visits an art museum and he has this internal monologue of maybe I should just figure out what I like in art. And it made me think of that question myself, and I have some form of an answer. But yeah, that's one way he's relatable to me. And the other is, admittedly, I do not have a passion in life currently, and I'm trying to really figure that out. Because like him, especially in high school in the US, I can only imagine what it's like in Japan, where I feel like it's a little bit more rigorous. For me, it was you're pushed to go to college and just get a degree and you'll get a good job, kind of very formulaic pipeline kind of thing. But I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just really lost because I had no passion. I didn't have a direction, and I just let people just kind of shuffle me around. And I got shoved through the crowd and came out at some end, and my life happened the way it did, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want through life. So that's something I really appreciate from the show, just that coming of age, trying to figure your life out kind of thing. And I do wonder what my life would have been like if this anime had come out in like 2014 when I was graduating high school or something around there, and what it could have done for me, let alone anybody else.
Yeah, it's something inspiring because Yatara is such a machine for learning. He constantly just works so hard at everything that he does that he's constantly picking up new techniques. He's learning from the people around him. He's trying to see what has worked and seeing how he can apply it to himself. And it's just the show centering around passion and hard work is something that I feel like can be inspiring for a lot of young adults that are kind of just lost in life and are trying to figure out what to do.
Anyone else have thoughts? Want to contribute?
You know that famous quote by Shia LaBeouf?
Which one? You gotta remind me.
Just do it. I feel like that basically encompasses everything in this show.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I got to commend you for not doing what I thought you were going to do and quote Top Gun Maverick and hit me with the don't think, just do.
They're in the same boat. Like that man said, just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. And then Top Gun Maverick was like, don't think, just do it. Like, these two things are the exact same thing.
Those are the two mottos that Jordy lives by currently.
Yeah, those are the best. Don't think, just do.
Yeah, it's kind of easy whenever you're coming out of high school to just try to focus in on a path. But I feel like where I'm at, I'm 23, so I've been out of high school for a few years now. With the responsibilities that I have, the amount of debt that I've racked up, the stuff that I've wasted my money on, it's kind of hard to just drop what you're doing right now that pays for all of that and just be like, yeah, I want to do this, and not make any money for the first few years. And
Amen.
Just see if it all works out in the end. It's kind of hard for an adult to actually try and do that. So
yeah, high school kid does a lot easier.
Yeah, but it's still something inspiring to kind of try and plan out in your mind and just rack your brain on what you actually want to do, what you find joy in, and see if you can make something out of it.
What about you, Christian? What are your thoughts?
I did enjoy, so I only watched the first couple of episodes, first 3 episodes. I did enjoy the show. I don't think I necessarily hold as much of a connection to the main character as probably most people do.
Mm-hmm.
I can admire hard work because I value myself as a hard worker in whatever I do, whether it's my job or schoolwork. I'm still in school myself, and the only thing that I have never been able to relate with really throughout my entire life, it was exemplified post high school when people recognize what they want to do for school and stuff, is the passion part. I've never really felt such a strong passion for just about anything, really. And I recognize that sounds kind of depressing, like I haven't found happiness ever in anything, but I just feel I've never felt so strongly about something that I would dedicate all of this time to getting better at it or being good at it, for instance. Especially coming out of school, high school anyway, I kind of had a loose idea of what I wanted to do. I came out of high school and went into college to study computer science just because it was highly linked to some of my favorite things, being like computer technology or video games. So, but after 2 years of doing that, I quickly, I guess, depending on your definition of quickly in this instance, but after 2 years of schooling, I realized I hated coding. Coding is boring and hard if you don't have the patience to sit down and stare at a computer screen like that for hours on end, potentially. I admire people who are good at coding and can do that because they have a willpower that I will never possess. But and
copy and paste.
Right. Well, that's the higher level. First you have to get the college degree that says you can go work at Google and copy paste from public forums.
You have to earn the right to copy and paste, and it costs a couple $1,000s in 4 years of your life.
Yeah, you really do. In school, that doesn't fly. They want you to hand do everything. Learning programming languages is like literally learning written languages. All of the same rules apply for the most part. So it was tough, and so I dropped out of that eventually and took some time to figure out what I actually wanted to do. And I settled eventually on engineering. But even then, I don't feel so strongly about engineering. It just plays into my strengths in terms of learning and what I've always been good at with school, and that's math. Even now, I'm a year away from graduating, and it's become more interesting to me as time has gone on. But at the end of the day, I feel like whatever job I get post graduation is more like a means to an end. Like it's just a source of money is how I've always viewed jobs and careers, right? Like I never thought, and I don't have a problem with it either, that I would end up in a job where, you know, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. Like that quote, people like to throw that around, but it never meant anything to me. Because a job at the end of the day was just a means to get money for things I actually want to do, which is, you know, play video games, go out and eat at good food places, take trips, whatever it is. So, contrary to what some people have always, like, I don't know, pitied me on, I've had people pity the idea that I don't have a strong connection in one way to anything, but I don't have a problem with it, you know. It's just the way I've always been. It's the way I live.
I'm gonna quickly interrupt because I think me and you share a similar struggle because we went to high school around the same time and graduated from the same school district or whatever. So we definitely had like similar voices and scripts thrown at us, right, around graduation time. I think me and you maybe do have a passion, but it's definitely not for like careers or even necessarily like a hobby. For me, it's like I realize, you want to know what I'm passionate about? I'm passionate about enjoying my life in the ways I see fit. And like Christian said, for me, it's like, I want to go out and eat with the boys because that's just like, for me, that is the perfect life I could live. I go to work, I get paid enough to just live my modest life that I want, whatever that really looks like visually. And my free time is, hey, do you want to get dinner? And we just eat whatever we want because we don't have to worry about necessarily price tags. It's also about we sit at a table, we enjoy a good conversation around good food, and that's it. That is what I'm passionate about. And I think, you know, growing up, that's not really pitched to you as like a worthwhile thing. It's like, no, you need to find something you are passionate about in terms of like a trade or a skill or something like that. And then you're supposed to love it so much that you make money off of it and love making money off of it. And I'm like, man, I just don't subscribe to that thing. And that wasn't one, what I'm saying now was not pitched back to me as an option. And two, like, even if it was, it would have been frowned upon.
We're kind of throwing this passion word around. I just want to dispel a little bit of something. If you read into a lot of these books about the great artists or whatever, a lot of them are pretty much going to tell you that the passion only really takes you so far. The real like champion of it all is consistency. It's basically starting and building habits and then maintaining those habits for long periods of time for anything to actually be fruitful. So I don't know if you guys ever like read any self-help books or books about creativity. It all comes down to consistency.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that too. But the main theme, or one of the main themes of this, is finding that passion and chasing your passion, but then also, you know, dedicating yourself to the hard work. They have that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we're going to go over it a little later, but
that's a trait that he had from the very beginning.
Yes.
That even in the first episode, he describes himself as someone who's not necessarily like actually good at anything. He just tries harder than everybody else.
Whether it's getting along with friends or getting high grades, it's all the same to me. I get satisfaction from meeting quotas. To meet these quotas, I have to work harder than others. That's the only way to get the results I want. I'm certainly not a genius.
That's the distinction they make between genius and hard worker.
And he was set up for a salaryman path. He could have easily went to college, got any type of job to work. A salary job would have been successful because he would work harder than anybody else. But he finally found something that he was passionate about and decided to move those efforts towards art.
There's definitely a big risk and investment in one way or another that plenty of people, myself included, aren't necessarily willing or potentially capable of making.
A lot of it's a time commitment, having to balance passion versus responsibility.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a nightmare.
Do you have thoughts on the show, by the way, Thomas, from what you've seen so far?
Has everyone else gone? Because I'm going to drop the vibe here.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So I did really I equally enjoyed the show, and I also equally hated the show.
Interesting take. Go on.
So first off, the name confuses me. Blue Period. I understand it's about the painting he made, but that's purple, not blue.
No, it's a reference to Picasso's Blue Period, a monochromatic painting style.
Oh, well, see, I thought it was about this painting, which is purple, not blue. Secondly, I am colorblind, so
I was going to say
this must be a rough show for you.
This sounded like a gold dress, white dress thing.
And this is why composition is a
gold.
thing. This is why the colors they're meaningless. The teacher lady says they're meaningless until you can figure out how to actually express yourself.
All of the best artists have recognizable strengths. I need one of my own. I need a strength.
Yeah, I'm with you on finding your strong suit.
Do you think that maybe color could be my strength?
Nah, don't worry about color right now. Making color your niche takes years of practice, and anyway, the first exam stage is black and white only. A good painting is a good painting. It will translate whether it's in color or black and white. That means any improvements to your black and white work will translate to your oil paintings.
I have flashbacks from art class in middle school and high school. So, it's pretty rough. And we you guys were talking about the whole passion, trying to find your passion in life and all that, like, especially through high school. Now it's so hard to actually do that. Well, see, I had a passion from a child. I wanted to be a firefighter so bad. Like, that was, have you ever seen Little Miss Sunshine? You know that scene where that kid finds out he's colorblind and he can't fly the planes because that's all he wanted to do for his life?
Devastating, yep.
After I got out of high school, I went to our volunteer fire department, and I had that exact moment.
No.
I had my passion all through my childhood and everything. So this show hits me in the feels in ways that make me hate this show. I do, like I said, I did enjoy it. I was very, interested in it, and it is enjoyable, but being colorblind and seeing all these colors that sort of all just blend together and hating the idea of passion as a now middle-aged person who's afraid to follow his passion. Yeah, it's a good show, though.
I think that piece was more about the theme behind it rather than what he actually saw. I feel like he was seeing blue because he didn't know what he wanted to do, and he was depressed because of it. He found himself falling into what everybody wanted him to be, and this finally ignited his passion for art and allowed him to express himself in a way that he hadn't been able to before. It was alluded to in the summary that I felt like he was hiding behind a mask, and I feel that same way myself with the pressures and responsibilities from not only just life, but my parents as well. They want to see me succeed. And I don't even know what success is for myself. I feel like I relate to Yatra so much because I'm going through that same blue period myself.
I do want to jump in real quick. Thomas, this is not the experience that I thought anybody would have. And that's just due to my own ignorance and lack of knowledge in the world about other people's, potential life experiences. But I think it's actually really interesting and worth exploring and whatnot. I'm losing my words here, but the idea of like, here's this heavily visual based show that is heavily reliant on art concepts and colors primarily. And you get somebody like you who's colorblind and I am suddenly interested in like, what does that do for any audience member, right? It's like, it's like, hey, my literal vision of this show is skewed in some capacity. And I wonder how that affects, your relationship with the show or your interpretation of the show. And then it goes deeper for you because you have a personal life experience that I think is basically antithetical what is happening in the show. Like this kid gets to follow his passion, and unfortunately, you and many others in the world could not and did not get to pursue it through one meaning or another. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, see, I don't hate. Like I said, I don't hate the show. I do enjoy it. I was just putting in some drama just for suspense.
No, we love it. Give me more.
But, being, like I said, middle aged. I mean, I don't care. I've exposed myself in my own stuff. I'm 32. I've lived 32 years seeing colors in my own view, which, obviously is completely different than everyone else. It never really messes with me until it's like shows like this where, the color is sort of important. Like there was the scene where they were going on with like, oh, why is this girl green? And I'm like, she's sort of orange, but okay, dude, green's fine. You choose the color you want to see, bro. But it doesn't really mess with me personally. Like I'm just accustomed to knowing things are different. I do love art. I wish I could be creative in the art sense. I don't have that artistic bone in my body when it comes to like actual like painting, drawing, stuff like that. So, it is a good show. Don't take my initial phrase wrong. It's a good show.
Listen, you could tell me it was a bad show and be like, yeah, I get it. Show sucks. Whatever, move on. Whatever your opinion is perfectly valid here. And I appreciate your personal experience and how vastly different it is and what it contributes to this conversation today.
I think the biggest issue I have is the art classroom setting. Because, my art teacher was a jerk for nicer terms.
This is the coolest art teacher I've ever seen.
Yes.
Bro, the second she was down with that hoodlum, just like being like, yeah, you want to draw boobs? All right. How do you want it? You want them like really plump and round? You want them flat?
Make sure you capture the bouncy essence of them.
That was a beautiful scene.
You might as well scribble something down, dude. It's a super easy grade.
Yatara, let me cop a cig from you, man. My favorite scene is when my face is buried in my girl's boobies.
The old lady will have a heart attack if you draw that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Could be nice. So, does your girlfriend have big breasts? Yeah, if so, make sure to make them look plump and soft. Or jiggly if you prefer.
Well, I guess I'll get to sketching.
Not a very beautiful picture of tits, though.
No, but a beautiful
Man
scene.
is
That guy did
letting
not do a
tits
good
down
job.
around the world. I'll have you know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. See, it's not really, the colors are additive to the experience because there's already a really successful manga that you could dive into after the show that you get the same experience from. It goes later on into the show that he raises the question that if I am doing all these sketches and all this stuff in lead and just using the canvas, how do I add to it? It seems really flat, and I'm in this for oil painting, but they say it's all about composition, and you can get the same effects with black and white that you can with colors. It's all about how you go about it. It's all about the composition, stuff that you want to show to other people. And I feel like you could get the same experience going into the manga. It'd be a little bit less because the voice acting, I feel like, is a major part of why I love anime so much. And I even watch it in sub, but they deliver these scenes so well. It kind of drives the emotions home for me.
Yeah, I can see it.
I agree.
So what'd you think about it, Jordy?
There's a lot of good advice in this show. A lot of advice that pretty much goes throughout a lot of art in general. I'm imagining the mangaka, are they a teacher of some sorts? Because They describe technique and a bunch of stuff like really well. A lot of good lines. The English dub I loved.
Ooh,
Not a bad
gotta
one.
check that out.
Everyone's so chill. It's actually really amazing because the voices are so chill that any like generic anime sounds is just non-existent. You know, the gasps and the it's over 9,000 sort of things.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
The mangaka Tsubasa Yamaguchi actually graduated from Tokyo University of the Arts. She ended up creating 2 one-shots before launching her first full series, a manga adaptation of She and Her Cat. And then after that, she launched Blue Period.
Interesting.
One character that I wanted to bring up to you guys is, I forget her, Yuka. Her dead name, so to speak, is Ryuji Ayukawa. I wanted to hear your thoughts on her.
Well, today I learned they had a dead name. So I might be behind on the
that
info
might be
here.
a slight spoiler, but that's not like that's a little obvious in retrospect, but it's not very overt until they tell you straight up.
I'm going to call them Ryuji because that's how I understand them at this current moment in time. So when Ryuji, I guess, gets broken up with at the park right in front of Yatora, and they sit down on the bench. Maybe I'm just a little stupid, but my understanding was Yatora is clearly different than everybody else. My head was taking whatever I had available to me at face value. So I was like, okay, Ryuji is a guy who likes cross-dressing and may or may not be gay. That's all I really get. But actually, I was really interested in Ryuji's character down the road because I'm like, Yatora is having a thematic experience of, trying to really embrace oneself in its totality, like take off the mask, as you alluded to in your summary. And Ryuji is having a similar experience that is far more, there's more parallels because it happens in our real worlds. And it's just same experience, just different context, but you're hitting all the same points. And I think there's just a little bit more drama because of what is really at stake in terms of, trying to accept sexuality, gender identity, things of that nature. And I don't know what Ryuji has gone through throughout their life in this series and what will be explained further down the road and stuff like that.
In terms of difficulty, I find Ryuji's state a lot more difficult than Yotaru. Yotaru had just the aspect of changing career paths. Ryuji's actually going through a sort of spiritual, existential, and like physical transformation that is just like beyond anything that anybody else in this show can even imagine.
Absolutely.
And that's just like, it's really good that this sort of stuff is coming out now. When that got like revealed blatantly, because I didn't see the signs beforehand, I was like, oh damn, this show is woke. Hold on, I'm paying attention now.
They do really quickly spring that on you, and you're just kind of left stunned. But then Yatora is completely unfazed because he's known this forever, presumably, and might be the only person outside of whoever else Ryuji has confessed to.
Maybe that love is the only thing protecting Ryuji. But what if it's hurting them too? I don't know. The more I get to know them, the less strange they seem, though. I guess I still have a lot to learn.
The entire school knew, and that's just something that it's just like so casual. That's what I love about it. It's just so casual. No one makes it a big deal.
Yeah, well, Yatora and his friends kind of bring it up. I feel like that Yatora seems to accept them as the show goes on, but at the beginning, he's there with his friends, and they're, in my sub, it said that they were comparing Ryuji, or Yuka, to Nurikabe. And a Nurikabe is a Japanese puzzle. So they were kind of calling them weird, calling them different. The way that they're acting is puzzling. They don't understand it. And it's, to be honest, Ryuji, what they are going through is something that I didn't think that I would be comfortable with watching in a show. It's not something that I was absolutely comfortable with before seeing this. And it throws it in the light that I can understand that they just want to be accepted for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ryuji was interesting. Before that reveal in the third episode, I think it was, I really thought it was just one of those plot characters, one of those characters to move the plot along, since, she was the one who invited him to help with the art stuff and sort of got his mind sort of ticking and was just always there to sort of push him. So, and then that reveal hit, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Okay. And then, we're not far enough. A couple of us here aren't far enough to really know what happened. So I'm at a point where, like, it's just really just been plot to a plot character to move the plot along and to get Yatura to be engaging in his artworks and all that, where I'm hoping there is more progress in Ryuji's or whatever her name is, this character in the future, because I'd definitely be interested to see that. I would hate that they throw that, which, I mean, from what you guys are saying, it doesn't sound like it, but I would really hate if they threw that sort of out there and then just dropped it completely and then just used it for a bit.
No, it gets brought up, and there's also a few other things about Ryuji that get a little bit more depressing. But you guys can watch that and continue the show.
Yeah, it honestly builds them up to be like a very believable person, and I feel like even spurs Yatura on to kind of grow as a person himself. It seems like this is a really big show about growth and understanding, as well as hard work and passion and talent versus hard work. A lot of the themes kind of roll together into a show about learning what the world is about and learning how to be a better person all around.
I think what I appreciate about the show in the context of Ryuji is that there are, at least for me, I'll admit, I have not seen many animes. Most of the stuff I've watched is shonen, and shonen has a formula that it sticks to and does not break away. It's about usually combat and friendship and really basic and kind of child-friendly themes, right? And some people kind of play around with those themes and stuff like that. So I admit that, like, my experience with anime is not very vast or diverse, but before this show and being introduced to Ryuji, I have never really come in contact with like a queer character in my anime before One Piece. And I forgot what I was listening or watching to recently, but people were kind of commending Oda for what he was doing at the time of what he was doing. And, when you look at characters like Bon Clay and Ivankov, during the time of, like, I think someone put in perspective, it was like, I think Oda probably wrote these characters originally around 2007 or maybe a little earlier. And this is before, like, gay marriage is even legalized. I don't know if that was in context of Japan or America, but still, regardless, for his time and in his context, he was, breaking some type of boundary. And we've had topics about in our own podcast previously about, like, there's inherently flaws about what Oda does with his characters, and I won't, harp him on it too much, but
he goes all around.
He does a lot. It's like, you make really good characters, really bad, but that's not the point. I look at Ryuji, and what I've seen so far is like, wow, this is great. Like, I did not expect this because it's not what I've been accustomed to expect. And I think it's great that, like, the future of presumably media down the road will just get more comfortable just using these type of characters because they're just everyday individuals out in the world. And if I can appreciate, this character being used properly and with sincerity as a genuine character, not just some plot device like Thomas is concerned about, I can only imagine what someone who has far more parallels with that character would appreciate from the show. So that's my little tidbit there.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this show does such a good job at throwing themes in your face and getting you to think. Stuff like this I would not have been capable of thinking about and kind of parsing in my head before just kind of finding my passion for this show after watching it. I watched this right after it got dropped on Netflix back in 2021, I believe.
I believe so. That was the release date.
And it instantly became my favorite. I had seen Haikyuu, One Piece. I was already watching those shows. They were at the top for me. And the fact that a slice of life anime was able to shoot itself up past all of my favorite shows to become my number one was kind of impressive. Like, I like slice of life, but I like a lot of themes in shonen as well. But this just topples everything that I've seen in shonen. Just finding your passion, being yourself, kind of discarding the mask, being accepted for who you are. All of these are great themes to get people thinking about their own lives. And that's why I believe this is a must watch for anybody that's kind of in that stage, the young adults, the high schoolers, even middle schoolers, to get them kind of thinking about what they're going to do. Because back in high school and middle school, I treated school as a joke. I was not involved really in learning. Like, I did really well, but I also didn't try. So I ended up getting bad grades because I wouldn't do my homework. I wouldn't try, but I was still learning all the subjects really well. And English was one of my worst. And I would have never thought to just write a summary, dive into themes. Never thought that I would enjoy any of that. And thoughts really don't come straight to me. I don't have a lot of inner dialogue with myself. And it's kind of opened that up to kind of getting that introspection in my own life.
So what themes, do you want to dive into? Because I'm sure there's plenty, but I am big, smooth squirrel brain, and not everything hits me all at once, very obviously. So what do you want to talk about thematically speaking?
I've seen a lot of people on YouTube talk about the hard work versus talent debate that's presented in the show. So I kind of like to skip over that and dive into expressing who you are and being the person that you wanted to be, pursuing your passion, and allowing people to see you for who you really are. I feel like that is one of the best themes that is presented in the show.
So you said you saw this back in 2001, so roughly 2 years ago.
2021.
What did I say? 2001?
2001.
Yeah, 2021. Excuse me.
I believe you. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2001. She did. She's been doing this before Oda even. No, in the last 2 years, since this has impacted you so highly, how do you feel like you might have applied some of that sort of expression of yourself and kind of not caring what other people think, let's say, about who you think you are in the last 2 years? How do you think you've made those sorts of strides?
So like I said, it opened up like a lot of introspection for me. But I haven't exactly applied this in every aspect of my life. I've mainly just talked about stuff that I'm passionate about with my friends and kind of opening up to like literally my best friend. There's a lot of people in my life that, whether it be coworkers or even my family, to be honest, that I don't feel like they actually care what I have to say. So I talk to the people that I do care about and care about what I am and what I think. It's kind of opened up like a rabbit hole of thinking about stuff that I would want to do, and kind of opened up that gateway to kind of break down those inhibitions that I've had placed up and kind of pursue the stuff that I'm passionate about and kind of figure out what I want to do. I love like really good stories, so I've thought a lot about podcasting, I've thought about Twitch streaming, I've thought about writing books. I have like what I think is a really good idea that I would really love to spend time on and actually write. It's just making that time, planning it out, and basically making that leap while I'm still safe and secure in a job that takes all my time up, that I'm kind of trying to break down on how to do.
For sure. I'd say the book is the most admirable of all of those, by the way, personally. That takes a lot of work to write and edit and have people critique your work. Because people don't take critiques well a lot of the times, I find. So being able to let somebody else in on your idea and let them give their say on the matter. I had a cousin who has written a few books now, fictional books. I don't know what you're planning to write, but she's written a couple of fictional novels before, and I've done some like pre-reading for it because the books were aimed at young adults. So she gave me early copies of every time she edited the book to read new chapters and stuff. And I found it to be very interesting seeing the sort of editing side of it, or the like being able to give input and be part of the process of editing someone's work. I found to be quite an interesting experience, even if it was just, someone I knew. I'm by no means an English major, so it was very loose sort of recommendations, I guess, just based off of being who I am and being of the age group, like what I found interesting and stuff like that. It was less on the grammatical sort of editing exact side and more on the like what would be appealing to that age group. But I find, out of all things, that people who write books and stick with that sort of thing repeatedly they're a different breed for sure. Yeah. So I wish you luck if you try to pursue that for sure.
Yeah, that's something that I'm really like scared about, is that I would devote so much time into it, and even if one person ended up liking it, I would feel fulfilled in that aspect. But it's like putting my work out there to be critiqued by other people, and it's kind of about devoting that energy and time whenever it seems like I don't have any. Right now I've just got basic ideas. I'm like you, I'm no English major. English was my worst subject in high school. So diving into that is kind of scary, but it seems to be the thing that I'm most passionate about, besides just creating the stuff that I love into a hobby.
Well,
I think,
to quote an amazing quote, just do it.
Son of a bitch.
I have to tell myself that plenty of times, but as the great
he gets it.
As the great Shia LaBeouf once said, just do it.
Digging holes builds character.
To maybe add some more context or something, whatever the right word here is. So I'm on a similar boat as you, as someone who was an English major. After flunking out of chemistry and taking it some time to figure out what it is I want to do with life. Still don't really know yet, but I've had the idea of like writing a book, mostly like poetry, or for me, it's like I don't have a story I want to share in terms of like a well-written narrative, but for me, it's more like I want my experience to be shared, and it just happens to be shared through like a written format. And I'm like, do I write an autobiography or something loosely adjacent to that, or poetry, and just get my thoughts out there, and whatever happens. I don't know yet, and I think I need to start taking Jordy's advice of just do it. Just write it down.
Yeah, man.
You can work on it later.
What's the second quote?
Don't think, just do.
Let's not attribute this to Jordy. Let's make sure.
Wait. Yeah, the Tom Cruise. That's who said it.
Learn by doing.
I will say this in hopes of encouraging you. I've met a couple people throughout my life, mostly from college and someone's mom, who have published books.
Oh, that wasn't going the way I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple people I know have published books, and none of them have been English majors. I think of the one person I do remember and recall, I took a poetry class with him once or twice. He seemed to enjoy it. I would never have thought that this man would like go out and publish a book and sell it on Amazon or whatever. So
I feel that,
just do it. Just do it. Whatever happens, happens. I think there's also the other side of like accepting that this process could take a couple months, a year, to lots of other authors where it takes decades.
Also, on the English part, I hated English. English class is the worst.
Really?
There's so many rules. It's like,
that's fair. I feel the same way.
No one cares about, if you actually read a book, no one cares about the rules. As long as it's cohesive and mildly interesting, no one cares. It's like, you ever read The Road? Try reading that. Like that guy added with the white.
I'm on a similar boat as Jordy. When I went to English, I was like, screw the rules. I just want to do what I want to do. Fuck the rules. I don't need rules. I don't need none of this. It's the same reason like I don't love haikus because it's like super structured and
how dare
rigor.
you?
Okay, calm down there.
Fucking
I don't like
dare
rigidity
you.
in my creativity. I want to be set free. I want
there's
shackles on me.
creativity in the simplicity, man.
I understand what you're saying. I don't necessarily appreciate that particular simplicity. That's the point. My point is here is something I had to learn in college was, unfortunately, in order to break rules of English, you really got to like study and understand them before you break them. There are rules in place for a reason. And when you reach a certain level of mastery or expertise, you can.
But he just said that a lot of the people that have made books aren't English majors. And I feel like this rule can be bent and wavered.
I'm sure they're definitely following standard rules of English and assuming they have an editor or publisher.
The people who write the books, the authors, are very rarely in positions where they fully understand the English language. They hire people who do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They pay them. The author pays themselves to come up with the ideas and put them down, write them down loosely on paper. And yeah, sure, maybe they have rudimentary or even a semi-in-depth knowledge base of sentence structure or the way to format. It's a thing. Believe me, I had to go through it. I had to go through an English course for my engineering on how to write reports, and it was very technical. And you have to be very upfront with the reader. Anyway, the author is there to present their creative ideas. Then they hire people who go, okay, this is garbage. The idea is nice, but the way you wrote it down makes me want to throw up and then eat it again. So those people are the ones that know English.
It's true. This is why editors exist.
There's such a thing as a proofread editor. They don't tell them their shit is garbage.
More importantly, they don't say, this makes you want to throw it up and then eat it back up again. What?
Well, they do, but they say it in a nice way. It's like, this is not what we're looking for.
Yeah. They say they put you down. They don't put you down, but they put it nicely. They go like, okay, look, you got the right idea. We're just going to change a few words around real quick.
Well, I feel
and then they edit it.
I feel like the book industry is a whole lot like the movie industry, but it's just not as publicized as the movie industry is, because you've got superstars that can tell you about all the edits and stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I'm sure there's publishers that are like, hey, can you tweak this part of the story to make it open-ended so you can fit another book in there?
On the topic of proofreading and criticism, in terms of hopefully calming whatever concerns you have, the best way to take and receive criticism is twofold. It's a side of a coin, right? One, when you release your work, you need to release it from yourself as well. You need to understand that even if, like, metaphorically, a part of you is in whatever you produce, that whatever commentary you're going to receive is not a reflection of who you are as a person, or necessarily like you're not a bad person because you fucking wrote like a paragraph of run-on sentences, right? But the other side of that is making sure that like you are getting criticism from people who know how to critique. Number one thing is like, if it feels like they're attacking you on a personal level, get the fuck out of there and just find somebody else. People sometimes take criticism back and they assume it's kind of like they have to take it. No, you're allowed to tell them to go fuck themselves.
There are no rules.
There's a couple of rules.
There's no rules.
I agree with that. Like, you shouldn't take. I mean, I feel you should take everything into consideration, just to help you grow. Seeing your work from another perspective. That, like, you show stuff to like your family and friends. They're going to be like, "Oh yes, this is wonderful." Then you show it to someone else, and he's like, "Ah, this sucks." You sort of want to take both of those into consideration. And you can still tell that person to screw off. Like, I don't care what you think. But it is still good, I think, to take in consideration even the negative. Because that can just help you grow or potentially help you sort of see things in a different light. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, it's valuable. Greater strides in personal growth or growth in general often come from failure more than anything, because you can recognize, or somebody can tell you what you did wrong, and then you can fix that. If you just end up in this positive feedback loop of everything you've ever done is right because your mom told you you're a special little boy since you were 5, then you don't make such. I'm sorry you had to find out like this, Jordy, but you this whole thing was really just a giant intervention for you, Jordy. I don't know how else to break it to you. This is supposed to happen in like 30 minutes from now, but you've set off the time bomb.
Should we invite the others in?
Oh yeah. You should probably pull Matilda back in here.
Let me get my
She was
speech
hanging out with us before. Yeah. And Justin, I'm going to need you to bring in the saxophone player for the intermission.
Another passion of mine squandered.
Jordy, I've been listening to your voice for 3 years. Are we done with the intermission bit? Because I had nothing else past that.
Yeah, that's good. I don't remember what I was talking about anymore.
You're saying about being special.
Oh yeah, you're not special, Jordy.
Gifted children syndrome.
Right. Oof. Ending up in that positive feedback loop doesn't allow for much personal growth. It's often the failures that teach you more than anything. That's all.
Yeah, I feel like being a person,
it's very hard. Yes, it is.
You tend to be more critical on yourself than others are of you. And I feel not only myself falling into this loop, but I saw Yatra falling into this loop as well of taking the criticism and not knowing what to do with it and being critical of his own work and not knowing how to improve. It's just a lot of frustration can either lead one of two ways, but sometimes the greatest growth comes from that frustration with what you're doing, how you're living, how you're doing your life, all of that.
They actually mentioned that in the show. There was that scene where she's like, oh, well, you're frustrated, so that means you can still grow, or something in that similar line.
Mm-hmm. That's why the show is so powerful for me. It just exemplifies growth in an art form that I love. And that's what anime is. It's an art form. And I've talked to my friends about this show, and they're like, I don't like art. But I feel like everybody that's into anime has a propensity already to kind of like art. It's just whether you like learning about it or not.
I think people's definition of art is very narrow when that kind of conversation comes up.
Yeah, but I think that people gatekeep like what they feel about art because like in the anime, he's like, maybe art doesn't have to be so unapproachable. Maybe I can think about art in this way. And Ari had like a little bit of love for art from not only watching anime, but looking at displays and looking at stuff to decorate my room with, because I'm kind of bland besides what I like from anime. It's like I'm not really into cars or anything like that, so anime and games are my go-to. And I feel like this is a show for everybody. It's about whether you want to put your time into it or not.
I'm glad you brought up that quote from Yatsura, because I thought it was actually profound and almost forgot about it. I think about myself where like I appreciate arts in this context. It's more like not necessarily classical, but like formal art forms, the stuff you would see in a museum, right? I'm a very casual consumer, appreciator, whatever, of those traditional art forms. Where like I can go to a museum and have a good time. Don't expect to converse like art theory with me and have any type of conversation, because I would look at you and be like, I'm sorry, Picasso did who, what, and where, what period, what
my eyes will roll into the back of my head.
I appreciate the context behind a piece, because personally, like, no matter what art is, especially with music, for me personally, people can listen, hear, look at whatever piece of art and have their own interpretation, arrive at their own conclusion, right? Mm-hmm. And people like that. It's often encouraged by artists, right? I'm not one of those people. I want you to tell me what you're trying to tell me conveyed me through this art piece. All right. I could, because I think it's really cool when you tell me what you try to tell me, and then I revisit what conclusion I came to, and I'm like, were we on the same wavelength? Cool, neat, whatever. Did we get opposite conclusions? How did I get there? I love thinking about that.
I remember the name of the artist, but there was an artist who had like entire sessions of like 1 hour's like hours spending staring at his paintings. I don't know if they were his painting or somebody else's. The whole point was you stared at one painting for an hour and you're eventually supposed to develop some sort of understanding of it because you've been staring at it for an hour. And I don't know. It seemed like a good exercise, a really boring one, but it seemed like interesting.
I'd be done after the first 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good way
too.
to fall asleep.
Same.
That's true.
I feel like anime has inspired a love of art for me that I haven't had before, because back to what Justin was saying with poetry, he was looking at all the stuff that came before and was looking at the old forms of poetry, and it's like, it's not that interesting. Anime actually jumps out and kind of explains the themes, maybe not behind the art, but behind the story. And the art that comes with it just exemplifies the story for everybody else. Because I don't know about you, but it's kind of hard for me to read a book and actually picture what's on the page. My buddy and I have talked about aphantasia before. And if you tell somebody to conjure up a picture of an apple, there's different levels of aphantasia and fantasia. If somebody can think about the apple and they see the apple, they see the light glistening onto it, they see the surface that it's sitting on, they can see all the details about the apple, they have fantasia. But if they just think up an apple but they can't see a picture of it, it's aphantasia. And I feel like I have that. And anime just allows me to see what the author intended at all times.
That's interesting. I've never heard those terms before.
Maybe that's the fault of the author, where they're not showing you enough of what they're trying to, talk about or write about or whatever the case is. Mostly because of, thanks to my own like classes of writing where it's like show, don't tell kind of thing. Sounds like maybe the author just sucks and isn't being descriptive enough, but who knows?
But going back to the theme that we were originally discussing, like being yourself, that scene with his mother is the hardest hitting scene at that point in the anime.
Bro, why you gotta make your mama cry? We didn't ask for all that, man.
I hate that scene. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I'm sitting here, 5:30 in the morning, eating some Eggo waffles. Thank you, Justin. And
you're welcome.
There I am watching that scene, and just here I am bawling into my waffles. My waffles are now salty.
Soggy waffles, no.
At first, I was gonna do a portrait of you, like the ones that kids do for Mother's Day. But while drawing, I started to notice little things. Like your hands. You have these cuts and scrapes from working in the kitchen. And then I noticed the muscles on your arms, which I bet you got from carrying all the heavy shopping. As I continued drawing, I realized some other things you do. Like, you'll switch between fish on one day and meat on another. And I noticed how you always end up taking the messed up servings for yourself. You always put your family before anything else, again and again. If I didn't start drawing, there's no way I would have seen that. So sorry, Mom. Sorry, I'm a bad son. Please forgive me.
I have multiple points in this anime where I do end up crying because the stuff that's being shown to me hits so close to home. And just the voice acting and the scenery, everything just brings so much emotions where I generally don't have a lot in my everyday life. Like, I'll have anger and depression, but as far as like happy tears and stuff like that, I don't get that a lot. And anime, the ones that are my favorite, they do that 10 times over for me. And I did cry for the Going Merry.
That's
As
fair.
you should.
You have to, right? Like, if you don't, what's wrong with you?
No, I kind of want to dive into the paintings and discuss the themes behind them and what y'all pulled from them. So the first painting that we'll do is his first real attempt at art, his Blue Period painting, the Shinjuku Blue. Now, it's very crudely done, but you can still kind of get what he's trying to express in that painting, but I wanted to hear your thoughts before I dive deep and discuss my mindset on it.
I can respect it. Even though it's not blue, I can respect it full-heartedly.
All right, there's some validity. The far left is a little violet. All right, I'm gonna give you that. All right,
It's just
this is mostly blue.
I liked, he didn't start off. Now, yeah, he didn't start off being like a pro artist magically, like you can tell with that first painting. And, it does really capture sort of like, you can tell like it captures what he's trying to get. But I mean, overall, it's like, from my understanding, this is going to be like his big thing. This is going to be his goal, is to finish that painting properly. But I could be completely wrong. I mean, that's all I really got to say about that one.
I feel like it is finished. I feel like that's all. I found it simplistic because it is his beginning. He had a very simple idea. All I want to do is to show people what I see in the morning. And I feel like he really achieved that. And that's why he was so sentimental about it. He's like, oh my God, I actually did it. My strokes actually have meaning. And later on, he goes, all right, but what else can I do?
I think what I appreciate is, so if you're someone like me who's just like a simpleton, and you're like, okay, I'm going to draw this neighborhood in the blue sky that I see in the morning, draw some buildings, painted blue, you're probably painting in one color, right? But you can see here that he's trying to show you different types of blue because he's seeing different types of blue in this scenery that he's looking at, right? Like, okay, if I look closer to the sun, that shade of blue is completely different than if I look further down as the buildings, shadow each other and create, a darker type of blue image that I'm looking at, right? I think he captures that, or is doing his best to. And
it's a fun moment because he's already implementing things he's learning. Like that one sentence that he was taught, and he was like, all right, well, I'm going to do that now. It's a really fun, small little thing that it builds upon later on.
What'd you get from it, Christian?
I basically what Jordy said. Excuse me. I enjoyed that he immediately took a lesson that he learned from his upperclassmen and applied it to a painting. Basically, exactly the way, not as good as she would have done it, but he used the same basic technique that he learned from her. And I think that showcase is the first real showcase that he's about to get super serious about painting, is because he listened to this person that he looks up to so admirably. And they talk about it later too, even when they sit down. Was it post graduation or right before graduation? I think.
I don't think they graduated.
I think it was her graduation. I mean,
oh
yeah,
because she graduates. I think it was right before, because she draws the picture of him and she's like, wait, I'll give you mine when you graduate. That scene, she talks about how she didn't think he was serious, and then we started showing up, and then she saw the Blue Period piece, and then the dedication over summer break, so on and so forth. That's what I got out of it. I enjoyed his immediate dedication to it.
Yeah. See, I got a little bit more. Maybe it's me projecting. It could be the blue door is blue, blue Shinjuku is blue, but I feel like he is currently in his mask on period where he doesn't have any real passion and he's scared to be who he is, and this is his first step out. He's finally got his hand on the mask, and this is showing that he's kind of been in a depressed state. He's seeing Shinjuku in monochromatic colors because he's not happy with where he is in life. And I feel like it shows in his view of Shinjuku. He's out with his friends. He should be having a good time, but he's still not, because he's not passionate about anything. So that's what I ended up pulling from it. And it could be the blue door is blue, but this is what I feel he's trying to exemplify in his piece.
Very fair.
Now we'll move on to the sketch that he did for his mother.
Dude. I feel like the sketch itself is almost...
I think he described it perfectly. I don't think
there's
much to go on from there beyond the dialogue he went through.
Like that the sketch itself is almost negligible compared to the experience he had producing it, where he's like, yeah, I made you this, but also while I made you this, I noticed all these little tiny details I never noticed about you in all these years of, being your son, and stuff like that. And I was like, God damn. speaking from the heart and hurting my feelings in the same breath, man.
Yeah, I think this painting or this sketch is more I can't think of the word more better. That sounds stupid. I know it's not right, but it's better to experience that sketch in the scene, in the moment, because it's so much deeper, him explaining it. The only issue I have, and this is sort of a thing I've been sort of pondering on, when he shows like the important pieces of his work, they don't look great. Like from a person who doesn't know art concept, it's like a very rough sketch. Like it looks like something a kid would do. But then when they show like his sort of off random paintings and drawings he's done, they look like they should be in a museum. It bothers me. I don't know if anyone else sort of noticed that or if I'm just stupid. I just feel like all the little off-scene sort of paintings and drawings he does are like really good, but then all like the important paintings and pictures and stuff are just sort of not that great.
I don't know. I like to think in terms of that, this sketch of his mom, that he ended up focusing on the things he talks about, the details he notices about her, and focuses less on the drawing part because he's noticing all of these things that he hadn't before. So I like to take it that way for this specific piece anyway, with the sketch of his mom.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'm speaking more just in general blanket terms. I do, yeah, I know this sketch of his mom is, that is on a whole different level, just because, like I said, of the meaning and the whole concept of it.
It's the first time he learns that his paintings have actual expression to them, that he can actually get to somebody. He can express himself a lot more than he can with words. So the painting's like the first thing, and then he actually builds up the courage to say what the painting means, which is a big significant part of his growth.
Yeah, I feel like this piece is so important is because he's kind of taking that mask off fully at that point. He's kind of understanding the people around him more and starting to show himself for the first time. And I appreciate this piece so much. It's such a great scene. And that's why I decided to bring it up for discussion. And now we'll move on to the forge piece. I couldn't get any better pictures of this one. So that circle in the center is supposed to be a forge pouring out iron. And
interesting.
And the theme for the piece is bonds. So I'd like to hear y'all's perspective on that before me and Jordy dive into it.
I don't see what you're talking about, to be honest. Where's the bonds? No, I mean literally. I don't know. Where's the picture?
Go to the channel, the voice channel. Click the chat for the channel, and then scroll up.
I see that. I see four.
Give me a second.
I see 4 pictures. The one that I assume you're talking about is he's standing in front of it, and I can't see it.
Imagine a forge. The inside, the inside looks like a big fire.
Yeah.
It's basically that, but it's very artistic. Like, give me a second. Here it is.
Oh, there it is.
It's really cool.
I think it's interesting because what I see from the zoomed out perspective is so vastly different than what he is actually portraying, right? So for me, like, without any context, I haven't seen this picture yet, I think, or I was paying attention. It just kind of looks like, to me, from the distance, like a foresty scenery, and in the center is a hole in the woods, essentially, and you're getting some like sunset colors, the sunset or the dawn, whatever it is, just coming down or coming up, and I thought it was really cool. Forge is still cool, lots of black and red, oranges. It's cool, especially speaking metaphorically. It's a great print. It's great. Yeah.
See, I my immediate thought here was upon seeing the picture was because the bottom, it looks like a road. It looks like a road going way off in the distance. You're looking at a straight road, and this is some sort of sunrise over like we'll call it like a road in the desert or something like that. And Yeah, I don't know necessarily. I didn't put too much thought into like the black background ish part of it, but I wouldn't have guessed Forge immediately. That's interesting. Tell me why he chose the Forge or what comes up there.
What about you?
See, this is one of those paintings where my disability becomes an issue.
Oof.
It's interesting. I do agree with like the road sort of thing. Like it's, if I, out of no context with this, it's just like the middle is very bright. It's like blinding you. Then it's just like a road. Everything else just sort of blurs together. But yeah, no, it's bright.
So the theme for the painting is bonds. This was an assignment that he kind of had to take and do again himself because he had to sort out his ideas on it. And I feel like what he came up with is a whole lot closer to what bonds actually are than what he originally went with. I feel like it's one of his best works in the anime. It's definitely my favorite oil painting of his.
I think out of the ones that I've seen so far, it would easily be the one I hang up in my house personally.
I like his other one, but I can't find a good version of that. It's a really interesting piece. The sword is visible. You see that little line in the middle. I don't really know what this. I think this side piece is supposed to be the thing you stick inside the furnace or whatever. And then like Christian said, the road here is I'm guessing a way to describe how far he has to go, which as we can tell here is infinite. There is no end game. And the bonds, what I'm sort of guessing is that he is forging himself and trying to make art, and the way he does it spiritually. I don't know. He's trying to connect with it, with his like work.
I feel like his work, bonds, actually exemplifies more of the people that he's putting time and effort into rather than the work that he's actually doing for himself. He sees all the people around him as people that he's got to put effort into to kind of harden and grow that friendship. And that's kind of what's explained in the anime.
I wish I could find a better version of this. I really like this one.
That's sick. I like that.
He made it out of pure desperation in a like the lowest point in the show because he felt like incompetent, and they never really like described what he was like trying to depict here. This one was one of the rare ones where they were like, here, he made this. And she was like, wow, you actually tried on this one, huh?
Yeah.
It does look good. I don't know. I see the fingertip and the ball, and I guess he's in the background and the sun coming out of him, but he can't touch the ball. So he's like, I'm this close to achieving what I want, but I can never actually.
It's almost like a monster hand too. Like it doesn't look human. It looks like the claw
I
of
just
a
chalked that up
beast.
to being arty.
I mean, yeah.
I like how you see like a monster claw kind of thing. And I see that now as you like put that in perspective in my head. I see like a being of sort, like that what would be, I guess, index finger of sort at the very top. I see like a facial head structure, and then the rest of his body is holding up this ball of whatever. And it's like either shining or light is hitting it and refracting. I don't know what's going on, but it looks cool.
Audience, I swear, Justin will post these somewhere, maybe on the Instagram.
Yeah.
I've been thinking the whole time, great for the audio-based platform.
Very great. This was the original Bonds, which very lackluster. You can tell why he had to redo that.
Oh, it's the first one he did. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a prototype.
See, the funny thing is, despite this being like a really good painting, he is actually criticized for trying to redo Bonds. That's his masterpiece up to this point. And he does a lot of works that are very derivative of that piece. And he's kind of frustrated trying to figure out how he reached that piece and works towards not being derivative, but also capturing the essence of what he wants to put into his paintings.
There's a lot of really good ones. The first one here we never really went over. The one with multiple with his face extended.
Oh no, he talked about the mask and he described it perfectly, so we moved on. I had no.
But it's not a mask. This is like his million versions of himself. His personality split apart between him and what he wants and what other people see. This is like a billion different. It's not just one mask. It's like a billion. I don't even want to call it a mask because a mask is singular. It's more like a soul split apart. I don't know.
It's like a Rubik's Cube. Got so many panels.
Yeah, I guess.
I was going to go over that one last because that's the order it happens in chronologically in the show.
The last one is the human painting, the naked lady.
Naked lady, you say?
What?
Yeah.
Well, this show just got interesting.
Yeah. Wait, maybe I will finish this show.
Come on, man. This is our class. There's always going to be a naked lady or man, or you know.
Well, this
Imagine being
is
one of those models.
This is his first exam piece. So this is the last piece out of the 4 that I picked out. That I thought exemplifies his growth as an artist. I'd like to see what the others have to say about this piece before we dissect what actually happened and how he got to where he got.
How do you think he came up with this?
This seems like a self-portrait. I don't know if you've already said that or not.
It is,
but I mean, it evokes a sense of like self-critique. Like I guess you kind of already said before. It's like he's drawn himself staring back at himself, drawing the picture of him staring at himself. It seems very introspective. I guess I don't really have a lot of thought other than that. Like the eyes are narrowed. Like, what are you doing right now? This is what you've been spending all your time doing. That kind of thing. That's what I'm getting. That's the attitude I'm getting out of this painting.
I couldn't ask for better out of you without having any context. Justin, what do you think?
Not much different than what Christian said, or I don't really have thoughts on the piece itself, other than potential inspiration, if you will, would be either it's the like pseudo epiphany after like some mental breakdown or really introspective moment where he just really breaks down his own character and he recognizes himself, or it's this is him confronting himself, but he hasn't done that extra step, whatever it is, to really break free from this crisis he has of like, who am I truly, right? That's really the only thoughts I have currently.
And this ought to be your favorite painting, Derty.
No colors inside.
That's beautiful. So, initial thought, like first thought, seeing this photo, the first thing I thought of was just like, like in like school when it was hot, you would take that piece of paper and fold it a million times and make a little fan out of it. So like he did that with the paper and then he drew on it. That was just my initial, like, first seeing it, like, that's because with, like, the lines and stuff that are showing on it, which looks like, different sort of maybe styles of art he was attempting in this one painting, or maybe just a way for concept. Now, when I'm thinking about it, I see more like what Justin was saying was, like, sort of in prison. Like, it's like bars. He's behind this sort of, these bars, staring at himself. And I don't know if there's deep meaning behind that, or I'm just talking out of nothing.
No. You made sense.
That's great.
That's a pretty good take.
So I just see himself just sort of staring at himself through these bars. Like, he's still, we talk about this show. I don't know what point this picture comes out at, but this whole show we're talking about, he's behind this mask. And so here he is. He's just sort of trapped behind these bars trying to get out. And he's staring at himself just like, how? But that's my staring at it for a while and thinking about it. Not 10 hours or not a whole hour, maybe like 10 minutes. But yeah, that's what I got.
So yeah, you and Justin were like really close on how he came up with this. What actually happened? Do you want to dive into that, Jordy?
I find it very hilarious because it had nothing to do with technique and all that. His mirror just broke and he looked at it and said, "Wait a minit."
That's good.
Brain blast.
Wow. Well, something broke. It just wasn't him.
I mean, he still interpreted it in a way that he could use it, but it's just funny that as a famous Instagram artist I follow says, art is really only as important as you make it. So, you don't got to really kill yourself over it.
Yeah, it was great. He was
deep dives, deep reads, read between the lines that don't exist always.
Quiet you.
Good show. You guys should finish it if you want.
I probably will.
I will do my best to.
You probably won't.
I like to.
I
I
definitely
like to
plan
finish
to.
shows. If I find even a mild interest in a show that I have started, I'll usually finish it. Very rarely have I started a show.
One Piece again?
Is now a bad time to tell you I hate it, or
do it? Say it now. Hold on. Let me get the recorder.
I'm only. Wait, you haven't been recording the whole time? I'm not coming back. You can do this. Eragon can live with my notions, just not on recording.
He can live with the memory of what happened today, just no definitive proof of it.
It's true.
Being able to discuss this with y'all is 100%. I'm happy with that already. Getting my thoughts out there and drawing more attention to this show is just a bonus on top of that. And I hope a lot more people come to watch this show and enjoy it just like I have.
You know, funny enough, at least for the large, I'd say first 30, maybe plus minutes of this talk we've had, I was growing concerned in my own mind of like, wow, we're like supposed to be talking about the show, but I feel like we're talking so much outside of the show. Like, hey, here's this like loose thing that happened in the show. Now let's take 20 minutes to deep dive about how it personally affects us in our real lives, which I'm okay with because that's kind of what I like doing in general.
I mean, that just tells you how the show impacts individuals and how more, I guess, thoughtful it is. I don't know. We said it earlier. I don't know who said it. I think it was you, Eragon. That you don't usually gravitate to slice of life. Slice of life are really, really underplayed. People think slice of life are like cute girls doing cute things. I mean, that's just a start. That's just like the entry point. Now, I'm not gonna say I don't like this, but slice of life tends to have a lot more thought provoking things than your,
Jordy. You know what this show kind of reminded me of? A Place Further Than the Universe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about the whole time. The Place Further Than the Universe is like the predecessor to this, and it is masked in cute girls doing cute things.
Wait, hold on. Does anybody else here know the show?
I'm unfamiliar.
I need to watch
Dirty
it.
no habla inglés.
It's
same. I want you to wait, hold on. I want them to guess quickly by the name alone. What do you think this show is about?
Say that name one more time.
A Place Further Than the Universe.
A Place Further Than the Universe.
I would
Ohio?
ponder to
Close.
No, not the worst place in the universe.
That's the center of the universe.
Oh, Lord, that's great. But what I was going to say is it's probably a place that they really enjoyed either hanging out or being a part of, and they've either moved on from that place or it's too far away that they can't get there anymore.
Very deep. I like it. Justin, quickly.
Given what Jordy led the talk with, I assumed it was just like, another art anime that was disguised under cute girls doing cute art things.
No. Jordy, do you want to tell them
Wait, Derty, you want to take a guess here?
So a serious guess would probably be something about cute girls doing cute things in space.
Close. You're kind of the closest one here.
That's all I can take from what I was told.
Jordy, tell them what the cute girls doing cute things do.
So it's about Antarctica.
Oh.
A girl wants to go to Antarctica. Now, there's a secondary girl who has discovered, or sort of reawakened, as we've sort of been talking about here, that they have done nothing with their life. And she goes, wait a minute. I need to make up for lost time. What's the stupidest, craziest, dumbest thing I can do? I know. I'll take a trip farther than anyone's ever gone. And she hears about Antarctica. Is like, I'll do that. Sign me up. I'm in. Wow. And the story is very cutesy and very fun all the way up until the very end. I will not spoil it, but things get dramatic. Things do go down.
Does it end with them fighting a mob of penguins?
It does get very sad at the end. It's like the entire show is, there's fun things here. Like I said, it's masking the cute girls doing cute things all the way up until the very end where they hit you with the bomb. And I don't know if Christian felt it, but I was like, oh my God, how dare they? This was supposed to be fun.
Well, I'm intrigued.
They have some moments in between though
there's some
too.
moments in between.
Like it's not cute girls doing cute things all the way up until the last episode or two. There are moments where were there 4 girls?
Yeah, it's 4.
4, right?
Always 4.
They have they have these very real moments because they're high schoolers, they're high school girls. They have very real moments between each other where their friendships are tested because of what they go through, both in preparation for their trip and for going there in the first place, or actually I should say being there in the first place. So I find a lot of when I was watching some of these, especially getting to like episode 2 and 3, when we have like Ryuji's story, and the beginnings of Yataro's sort of journey here, I was feeling a lot of the same vibes of like reaching out into the very uncomfortable unknown of something new and trying to make the best of the situation.
Highly recommend it. If you, I don't know, there's people I know that don't like cutesy stuff. It is very cutesy. There's just a lot of things in there.
Listen, I like Toradora, so I think I'll be fine with this.
No. This is a bit more than that.
It goes a little bit more cutesy, but
it's between Toradora and K-On, somewhere in there.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say it's that bad. I think it's palatable enough.
Huh? I love K-On, man. Why
No. I'm saying like the cutesy thing. I would never sleep on K-On.
It's mainly the voice part. The voices, they have very generic anime voices, which is probably like the biggest downside of that show.
K-On, you mean?
Again, they're like...
No, we're talking about
chipmunk
voices.
voices.
K-On, you mean Inferior Bochi the Rock?
Ooh. Man, it's been a pleasure having you on, Eragon, but I think it's time to go now.
So anyway, while Christian's internet comes back, I have a question that I'm curious about. So it's not necessarily meant to be answered, but something I was thinking about when I started the show was... This show very much pushes the very common real world notion of, if you pursue art in terms of being a career, you're not guaranteed to make money. And it's almost like you have no real opportunity to do so. And I find that interesting. One, because we're talking about not making any money off of art through an art medium, just irony there. But also, I'm curious if that stance gets challenged by the narrative of the show in any way, shape, or form, either in the anime or if it gets addressed in the manga at some point. Because, for me, at least, I'm thinking about how I've recently met a lot of people who have found a way to pursue art, which is their passion, and are slowly but surely making money off of it. I have a friend who does, design work. They have done a lot of the art design for a brand called Lunar. They sell like either like hard seltzer or some type of like alcoholic beverage in some form. So they've done work for, designing the can art and stuff like that across different flavors. They are now actually I think they're now technically a teacher. They have like a residency in some type of art college or something like that. Another friend of mine just found out they have I think they're still going to school potentially, but they have a residency in either an art museum or like in some type of venue where like an owner has like a personal art collection. And this person I know is responsible for managing deals and brokering, selling and buying art and things like that. And I'm just here man, we got to stop perpetuating this myth. Obviously it's not easy. It's no different than I want to be an actor. It's yeah, you could be that. You could be, a actor who will never be heard around the world, right? And there's no shame in that. You can still find success for that if you want it. Or you could get real lucky and become, the next John Wick or whatever, you know what I mean? I just think it's really interesting that this theme in my mind is presented to us initially and kind of gets reiterated a few times in these first 3 episodes, and I'm wondering what the show will do with that question that I have, if anything at all.
Thinking about it, I feel like this is a sports anime.
Go on.
It could be, yeah.
It's structured the same way. Person discovers they like sport. Sport becomes a new obsession. They keep at it. They go through challenges, and they're aiming for a goal. And I feel like this is a sports anime.
He's cooking. He's on the. He's right.
In general, sports anime can be everything. Like this is a very overall encompassing, I guess, thing. You find thing, you do thing, you challenge.
So you're saying this show is a shonen?
Yeah, he goes through one long training arc and aims for nationals.
Wait a minute. You're making
He's too quiet. He's not screaming enough. He needs to scream a little more to be a shonen protagonist.
Well, I don't know. Like you look at Tanjiro and Deku, they start off quiet for the most. I think Deku's still mostly quiet.
Deku's too busy crying to scream.
It's time to wrap the show up so I can stop talking to Jordy for the rest of my night. What are we doing?
Got a couple shout outs. If you like the thumbnail and you want to commission some art, check out u/ArtandSoul96 on Reddit. Also check out Hungry Artists. That's the forum that I commissioned the thumbnail from. There's a bunch of people looking for work there, and make sure to pay your artists. They do good work and should definitely be valued.
Yeah, we should definitely pay artists because, starving artists aesthetic is no goo. But also, Dylan, if you're listening to this, don't expect a paycheck anytime soon.
So do I hit the record button now?
Not you too, man. Come on. We already lost Jordy. I was fine with that, but not you too, Derty.
Wait, I thought we lost you, Christian.
No, I'm the only one who was recording as far as I'm concerned.
I think I pressed the button. I don't really know what's happening. It's been 2 hours.
Ever.
He's actually the only one asleep right now.
I should be asleep.
Christian. Wake up.
This is a dream. You need to wake up.
I don't want to.
Take the red pill.
It's so nice and cozy here.
I don't want to go to school, Mom.
I can kill whoever I want and not have any repercussions for it.
Justin, do the thing.
Thank you for listening to this very long but wonderful experience of a podcast. Shout out to Eragon and Derty and Jordy, I guess, and Christian too, and me.
Don't call me out.
Yeah, I don't know what platform this is gonna be on. I don't know if is this our show? Is this the Panda View? Is this Eragon's show? I don't know what's happening.
Yes.
Anyway,
what?
Shameless self-plug in case it's not my show. If you want to listen to my show and talk to me about my show, you can do so on Instagram and Twitter at Panda Sightings. If you want to email me about my show, you can do so at pandasightings@gmail.com. If you wish to just financially support my show, we have a Patreon. There's a little Linktree link going around there on the socials and blah blah blah. You can just DM us for it. We have a community Discord that we're currently recording this live on.
Is that also yours?
Yeah, it's also mine. Yes, sorry.
He's just
my Discord.
Everyone else of this podcast.
It's all me, baby, all me.
I'm just
join
so
Discord,
confused
cool
as to whose
people.
show
We talk
it
about cool
is.
stuff. You could be like Eragon and do cool stuff with your life. Yeah, all me.
That's not me. I'm not doing that. But
You guys want to plug anything? Derty, you want to plug anything?
I'm good.
Hold on. I'll do it for him. Derty over here has 2 podcasts. One of them is called From Friend to Weeb. He takes a friend, they watch the first 3 episodes of an anime. It's cool. I'm on it. It's now my show. My show is now called From Friend to Weeb. There's also another show that Derty does. It's called Derty Talk. He just grabs a human being and they talk about just being human beings.
It's called
Dirty Talk.
Dirty.
Oh, wait, my bad. Yeah, it's called Talking Dirty. But you know what? It's my show now. I'm calling it Dirty Talk.
It's Justin's show, and he's reversing the order. You can have it.
Well, since you already plugged my stuff, I also started a new one called JoJo and the OP with a buddy of mine, where we're watching JoJo.
How many
and One
podcasts
Piece.
do you have, man?
I have 3.
You're worse than Jordy.
I have 3.
For now.
Earlier, this was an intervention for Jordy, but I think now that's an intervention for you. You got to stop making podcasts, dude.
I can't help it. It's an addiction.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
I'm already thinking about
nobody cares.
listening to podcasts.
Oh my God, stop. Think about all the RSS fees. Think about all the content you'd be struggling to make. Just think about nonstop. Oh, hold on. This doesn't sound too bad. Hold on. Just nonstop content machine?
It would be beautiful. Except I'm sitting on like 7 hours of audio I need to edit.
Eragon, you got none? You want to plug your future book?
No. I'm just a dude.
I'm just a dude and I just work here.
Yeah.
Anyway, bye-bye.
Farewell.
Bye.